start on this computer. Thanks, Miss Zoom. Letting everyone know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm pretty sure that they put that in there after that whole news anchor got
Yes,
caught.
yes, exactly. As like an alarm bell for all the people who might not know. Yes, we are recording this, so
We
stop
are recording.
doing.
Please
Yeah.
put your penises away.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a nightmare! What a nightmare for that dude. Jesus, but it's hilarious though. I mean, like it's hard. Like you feel for him, but at the same time, it's just like, no, this can't not be funny. It's just funny.
You feel, because we've all been there,
Yeah, we've all been at the tail end of a Zoom meeting and just like it's a very relatable.
It's like immediately
topic.
right after I live stream, I like, you know what? I just need
exactly. Right here, right now. Like
get
there's something about
up energy.
Exactly. There's something about playing this video game that just makes me not able to take the 5 steps to get to the bathroom.
or your personal quarters. Anyway.
Yeah, right. Whatever it is.
Everyone, welcome to XPlicit Materia, a podcast where a nerdy drummer talks to his friends, old and new, and it has been a year. It has been a full year since I've done a podcast, and I've been wanting to get back into it, but those who are in the know, some crazy shit happened for the last year, and we're now just finally getting above water in terms of mentally and financially and whatever. But yes, we're here. It is a new podcast episode, and I am so pleased to have Chris Lombardi a cappella with me as my first guest back from all the craziness. So thank you so much for being here, man.
You got it. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah. So, it's been a year since we've kind of like corresponded since all that. I mean, we've done a collab together. For those who don't know, Chris is pretty much TikTok famous for his wonderful renditions of retro game stuff, 90s nostalgia stuff, and it's just absolutely amazing, masterful voice work, really.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we did a little Sonic adventure collab together.
We did, and we did Sonic Adventure, and we also did the Super Mario 3D World with my a cappella group. We did that as well. Yeah, that was a fun time also.
Yeah. Dude. So people know you for your a cappella stuff, obviously, but I want to know, like, how did you get your start in music? Like, did you start on another instrument, or were you always a singer?
Right on. No, okay. So short answer, no, not always a singer. My primary background, if I had to say what my expertise is in, I would say my primary background is in instrumental production and just general production and engineering in general. So I started really getting heavy into music around like middle school. Electric bass was the first instrument I played seriously, but I had a little background in piano and things like that. Was very into that. But then what really pushed me into, spending most of my free time making music was, my introduction to just digital recording, which back then when I was in high school, when I was like 16, 17 in high school, it was, plugging your guitar directly into the sound card of your desktop computer and realizing that you could record that way. And this blew my mind, because it was like, digital recording was still pretty, home recording was very new, and digital recording was even new itself. So, I started just recording songs, and man, were they bad. Like they were they were outrageously horrible. And looking back on them, I can't help but think, man, these are horrible. But they weren't horrible for that time. They're only horrible in the context of what I'm making now. But then they were great. Back then they were great for me.
But it's usually how it goes, though.
Absolutely.
Every first venture into stuff, you think something sounds great at the time, and then a year or two, you get more experience and more wisdom, and then you look back at it and you're like, oh my God, I thought that was cool. I thought that was good. What the hell?
Exactly.
And conversely, sometimes you do that and you're like, wow, I thought that was terrible. this is actually
Yeah,
awesome.
not bad. Yeah. It still works. And you know what? Like certain like cliche bits of advice. It's like when you hear them, it's like, oh God, like thanks for that advice, douche. Like that's like really cliche. Like thanks for that. But like the most cliche advice that's true is it's like, well, how do you improve on something? How did you get better? It's like literally like make mistakes, like absolutely make mistakes. It sounds so silly, but it really is true because subconsciously you're not actually consciously thinking, oh, the next time I do this, I'm not going to make this mistake again. You're not consciously thinking that, but subconsciously, when you go to do the same thing that you just did, you'd be like, oh, that didn't work last time, fix. And that happens an indefinite number of times with every project that you do. And then like, that's how you hone it. And even if somebody tells you exactly what to do, it's never going to stick like that horrible, horrifying mistake that you made with the piece that you published to the world.
Yeah, well, it's practice, you know, it's like that TikTok meme I keep seeing. It's practice. Like, and like, but I'm so terrible at it. It's like, you wouldn't be if you practiced.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And it has nothing to do, and like I tell people this with like guitar, and it's the same exact thing for drums as well, I'm sure. It has nothing to do with how many years you've been playing. It has everything to do with how many hours you've been playing. Like, I don't want to hear about, oh, I've been playing drums for 20 years. It's like, yeah, well, do you ever pick up the sticks, or do you pick them up like once every 5 months? Then I don't care that you've been playing for 20 years. Somebody that's been playing for 1 year who's dedicated to that and is spending all of their free time practicing and honing their skills, that person's going to be better than the person playing 20 years. I don't care about years. I care about hours.
Yeah, I mean, and then, you know, just natural ability comes in there as well. Some people are more attuned to certain things and they have a shorter learning curve because they're just naturally gifted. But I always say it's like, dude, like a grandma of 88 could learn Tool, you know, like it just takes it'll just take time and practice and she'll get it eventually.
That's right. That's right. Because we all have that ceiling. We all have like a ceiling inside, and like people attribute way too much. And in fact, me personally, I try to, like, if you look at the TikTok comments, and you look at people saying, oh my God, this is amazing. You're so talented. You're so talented. I never try to tell people that I really admire how talented they are, because I think that minimizes the work. Like, I like to tell them, like, I can tell how much time you've put into this. I can tell how dedicated you are to this. That's what impresses me, because people don't mean anything by it, but by like harping on the talent aspect, you're basically underselling and undercutting the amount of work it takes to get good at something. And you think, oh, well, this person's just talented, so they can just sing. This person's just talented, so they can play the drums really well. This person's just talented. So like, it kind of undercuts it a little bit. And it isn't just about talent, because we all have different potentials, but whether or not we reach that ceiling or not has everything to do with the level of work. And if everybody was reaching their ceiling, everybody would be doing some pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. To go back to the original. So you got started in music production. So when did you start like singing? Like, sure. When did you start getting into, like, because you're obviously very talented in the vocal aspect. I'm like, wow, this guy has got like almost classical trained kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. So that again, like, and I think that the singing is the easiest thing to point at and see. I am objectively better now because I've sung a lot. Like that like the improvement in my vocals has just been exponential since I actually started prioritizing that. And like, I sang like in my original covers, like when I was in high school and I was just learning guitar and like doing covers, like, yeah, I could sing. It was not great though. And I distinctly remember like not being able to sing above an E4. Like, I distinctly remember any songs that had like an F4 in them, I was like, oh, this song is too high for me. And that's a laughing stock. Looking back on that now, because of you know, the rangy stuff that I'm able to sing now. But that is literally just from singing. I don't take voice lessons. I probably should. I don't have a vocal coach. I probably should. I might be thrashing my pipes. Like I do. Like, I might be destroying myself. I don't know. And like my sister is you know, more traditional musician, and she sees me recording my vocals all hunched over like this over my microphone. And she's like,
open up your diaphragm. What are you doing?
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Like, you dweeb. Like, you look like a stooge right now. But like, that's just how I do things. And like, but again, it's like I was very, very mediocre at best when I first started to get into singing. And that is literally just exercising the muscle and practice, like you said. As cliche as it sounds, practice. Like, it sounds so cliche, but it's like the realest thing that could possibly exist.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I want to jump on something, because you mentioned something about the comments, and something that I really appreciate about you, because I am so like, I'm such a people pleaser that I don't like respond to negative comments, but you do it in a clever way. You like pick out a comment, and then you don't like name the person. I haven't seen anyone, but you like just point the comment out and then do like a singing rendition over it, or like, you know, like something like that. It's like poking fun at that comment. It's like, That's clever. And so you're not afraid to like go back and like stir the pot a little bit.
No, especially because like the way I view it, it's like this person felt perfectly comfortable and confident to like with no knowledge or background whatsoever to like criticize or say something to me with not knowing me. Like, why shouldn't I? Okay, you've opened up the space. You've opened up the comfort level. Okay, so you're establishing that we're comfortable enough to talk to each other and meme on each other like this. I'm going to come back over the top and I'm going to destroy you because I'm more talented and I'm smarter than you are. So I'm going to like, you will lose. Like, I promise you will lose if for no other reason than I have the microphone and the platform and you're, you user 7862938 on TikTok.
I appreciate. I have friends who just aren't afraid to like clap back, man. And I just like I wish I had that bone in my body to be like, but I'm like I don't want to send it. I don't,
Yeah. No,
I don't want to cause any trouble.
And different people have like a different sensitivity level to like that discomfort, because even though I'm comfortable doing that, when I do respond like that, I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel that little bit of discomfort in my stomach. And especially when I stream and stuff like that, like there's like so many stooges in a TikTok live, especially, but like it's important to remember that like those people are contributing to you as a platform. Like, even though it seems like they're trying to tear you down, like, especially in a live and even on a piece of content, that the fact that they commented likely means they watched your entire video, because they had some sort of takeaway from it. So they watched the whole thing. So it helps for watch time. Then they decided to leave a comment, and the video is probably playing again as they leave their comment. And then the algorithm thinks that they're commenting on your stuff. So it's going to show them more of your stuff because they think that they're engaging in it. So like those people, those people are cool. Those people are fine. It's the people that immediately see your face and swipe away in the first half a second. Those people are not doing anything for you. But the stooges are actually helping farm your engagement.
That's actually a really good point. Maybe and I was actually thinking I need to start some like internet beef. How about you and I will start a fake beef and we'll get like a big.
Let's do it. Yeah. We'll see how long we can keep it going. Hopefully people don't dig too far back and see like, oh, these guys have done music together. They
won't.
No, they definitely won't do that.
Their attention span is too short. It'll just be.
But if they do that, all the better, even better. Perfect.
Oh, guys, guys, I'm in on it. I know.
Yes, exactly. Even better.
But yeah, and it's speaking of TikTok, because I want to get it like, so when did you have this idea to do like this a cappella sort of TikTok short form performance kind of?
Sure. So it definitely came from, after my background is in music, I majored in music in college. So I went away to college and I majored in music business. So that's my primary background. But when I finished college, I had this music degree, and then I tried to work in the industry for a little bit. It was awful. It was stressful. It was unpredictable. And I had a girlfriend, and I wanted to get married. My wife, who I'm still married to today. I'm not going to propose to my wife. Thank you. 11 years on the 7th, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome. Great.
Wedding anniversary. Yeah. Right on.
Married
so I'm
musicians.
like, yes. I'm like, I'm not going to propose to my girlfriend without something stable. So I'm like, let me go back to school for teaching. So I did. I got a teaching certificate, and then I taught public school for 10 years. I was a public school teacher. I taught 5th grade. So I was a 5th grade teacher in the inner city of New Jersey, in New Brunswick, and then Orange, rough cities. And I loved it. But when COVID hit, and we were sent home before virtual school started, we had a lot of time. And I'm like, I would be remiss if I didn't get back into my music a little bit now with all this free time before virtual school like really ramped up. So I just did an a cappella cover of DuckTales, Disney Afternoon, DuckTales. I just posted it on Facebook. And like the teacher Facebook group was like loving it. So I'm like, I'm like, teachers are all home right now. We're all bored. Like, let's get a collab going. So I did a collab with 5 teachers. I arranged Michael Jackson, PYT. We did that. And then I did From Now On from The Greatest Showman with 15 teachers. And then we did Seasons of Love with 30 teachers. And before you know it, we had over 1,000 people in this Facebook group all singing, sending me vocals and their video. And I was putting it together virtual choir style. Of course, ours were better because I knew how to produce vocals. The virtual choir people did not. That's why those sound terrible. So ours were like the best that were around, and everybody wanted to participate in it. But of course, I was doing it for free, and it was taking up a lot of my time. And my wife was just like, you should ask these people to pay you for this. So I'm like, they're not going to say yes. But I did. I asked them, and they all said yes. So pretty soon we're doing all these projects. I would open them up. They would fill up in like a matter of seconds of like 20 people all throwing me $50 a piece to do this song. And then I would open up another one and 20 people throwing me $50 a piece to do this song. So it just exploded. And I'm just like, oh, I can quit. I'm like, I can quit teaching now. So I left teaching. And then once that started to wind down a little bit, and I knew it was going to wind down when COVID, when things started to open back up. So I've started to do a little bit of my own stuff, a little bit of TV, a little bit of video games, a little bit of this. And that's what popped off on TikTok while I was doing my group. And now I'm just doing my solo stuff full time.
That's awesome. So like you get the solo stuff from like TikTok and whatnot. That's paying your bills.
It is. So it's a hodgepodge of things. So like like working for yourself, it's like you can't really deny or say no to any sort of venture, because like time is money. Like time is always money, and a lot of the job is loss leaders. So like making a TikTok, aside from the revenue that I get from making the TikTok, it's just a loss leader. I'm hoping to grow a platform so that I can do an ad that will pay. So like, for example, like the ad I did with DoorDash, like I would not have gotten that if I didn't build up a following of whatever 140,000 on TikTok. To get the brand willing to work for me. So it's a lot of loss leaders. So you have to say yes to any like money opportunity. So if it's an arrangement for a college a cappella group, I'll do that. If it's vocal editing for a singer who on their single, I'll do that. If it's someone who wants an instrumental, I'll do that. If it's live streaming, I'll do that. Collecting subs and donos and stuff like that, I'll do that. So it's kind of
your TikTok is basically just the ad for you. And
that's right.
And yeah. That's
right.
That's exactly what I'm trying to work towards myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's becoming more slower than I had want, but hey, it is what it is.
And you know what? And it goes fast and then it's slow, and then it's fast and then it's slow, and then the algorithm changes, and then different stuff is hot on TikTok. Like TikTok is the most volatile platform I think that exists out there. It's like, it's not stable in the sense, it's very hot and cold, but it also is the best for discoverability. And like, you have the best chance of like a huge pop off, a life-changing pop off from TikTok than from anything else. Yeah. Like a YouTube channel or like a Twitch channel, like you're going to have to grind that for a while. You have a chance for a pop up.
Yeah. I will say though, TikTok is wonderful for just putting yourself out there and then people finding you on other platforms. Like my Twitch has grown because of it. Yep. My YouTube has definitely grown because of it, although the shorts are actually becoming more popular on YouTube. So I think that's also helping. And what's not helping? Instagram.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. That to me, look, just personally, and not to look, I don't care. I'll say it. Anything that's meta related to me is a huge dead end. Like anything meta related is a huge dead end. It's spammy. It's full of scams, and it feels like mostly one gigantic ad. Like I feel like that Instagram specifically is like one gigantic sponsored ad.
Dude, I hate it. Like it's a running joke with me and my community. Like I absolutely like even my website, it has like, YouTube, Twitch, and on the bottom it says Instagram, and it says Instagram sucks.
It does.
I hate it so much. And I hate that I have to I force myself to post on it because I'm like, it's just an avenue for like maybe 8 people, people to see it. And I'm like, maybe that one person out of the 8 will be influential enough to go, hey, this is pretty cool, I'm going to share it. And then then it helps. And anybody who's in the social media space is going to say, you got to do it all, do everything. You got to do it all. Now, my counter to that is, look, I know that like once you make a piece of content, you can just put it on all channels, but there is still only so many hours of the day. And all the time you spend uploading to Instagram, writing your description for Instagram, your hashtags in this, same thing with if your YouTube channel's not big, etc. All that time does add up. And eventually there is going to be something that you don't do because you weren't able to, because you didn't have the time, because you were doing all those other platforms. Yeah. And I'm like really realizing that like success, unless you're mega big, unless you're like Asmongold, XQC, unless you're like one of those cross-platform type of folks, the success in one platform does not really translate to success in another platform. Nope. And people will always be like, it's not the algorithm, it's your content. Do better with your content. Your content's not good enough. It's nonsense. I call bullshit.
I call bullshit too. I call bullshit too, because if it was my content, there's no reason for a video on TikTok to go for 1.5 million and then to go for 150 views on Instagram. Like it would be a little bit closer, even with the follower disparity. It's not your followers that make a video go viral. It's the people who aren't your followers. So if it were the content, it wouldn't be good on one platform and not on the other. So that's how you know it's algorithm based and they're pushing different stuff.
Yeah. And I just wanted to go down that Instagram hate because it makes me feel good to like hate on Instagram.
Oh yeah, me too.
It just makes me feel good.
It warms your soul.
It warms my soul. That little evil Shane comes out and he's like, let's just take this moment to take a dig at Instagram. Anytime I can, take a moment to take a dig at Instagram, I will take it. And we just did. And
have you streamed on TikTok yet?
I have. I actually been thinking about getting back into doing that again. But I've been really focusing on building my Twitch right now. I used to do a multi-stream for YouTube and Twitch at the same time, but right before Twitch went all nuts and decided to have not allow that anymore, I decided to go and focus on Twitch and live stream only on Twitch, and then Twitch did the thing, and I'm like, well, I guess that worked out.
Yes.
And then so I'm trying to build that up, and it seems to be working, just live streaming on Twitch and then exporting the live to YouTube.
So let me ask you this because I'm gonna push you in a direction that I think is good. You could tell me to fuck off if not.
No,
but
absolutely.
would you say so here's the two things. So like you have the Twitch side of things. I'll call it the Twitch side of things, which correct me if I'm wrong, is mostly for your followers who watch you every time that you go live and they like to watch you and they're there for you. Those are like your one of ones, your dedicated fans. Is that right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So that's the Twitch side of things. Now on the TikTok side of things, you have more followers on TikTok than on Twitch, I would say, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the likelihood of so you have a little bit of a bigger reach there, more likelihood of people swiping in and stuff like that because of the FYP nature of things, but it's not as conducive for monetization in the sense that like your dedicated fans like to sub to you on Twitch because like they know that they got your ear, that they see it, and it's easy to sub, and Twitch makes it really easy to give money to streamers. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the reason to start exporting people out of Twitch and onto Kick. Okay. Here's the reason why you do that. Because here's the reason. If you have 20 folks, let's say you have 25, how many people do you stream to concurrently? How many people watch you stream?
Maybe 20. Like
okay, 20.
Average.
That's what I thought in my head. 20 folks. If you have 20 folks, those 20 folks are not Twitch loyal. Those 20 folks are WiseDrums loyal. So they're going to click on the Kick link to watch you on Kick.
Yeah.
And Twitch is doing nothing for you in the discoverability realm. It's not exposing you. It's not pushing you out. It's those same 20 folks who are coming in with the errant random person every so often.
I've been thinking about just trying Kick just for the hell of it, because I'm not loyal to Twitch by any means. Right. I just use them because it's at this point the actual live experience for like
it's more
chat
ubiquitous
and whatnot.
It's
more ubiquitous and it's a little bit more fun, the emotes and all that good stuff. So I feel like it's funner for the person just experiencing the live aspect. I haven't tried Kick though, so like I don't know if Kick
so if you haven't tried a Kick is a Twitch clone. It's just it's green Twitch. So when you like the emotes will look exactly the same, the chat will look the same, like the layout looks your profile will look the same. It's basically a Twitch clone. The reason why streamers of our size want to stream on Kick, and this is the reason, because I stream on Kick for my Discord. It's not like my TikTok lives have been going really well, and that's got tons of new people every day. That's a different thing. But for Kick, you keep 95% of the revenue as opposed to 50. So 95% as opposed to 50. And for someone like me, is the difference between being able to basically be a full-time streamer and being a part-time streamer, because it's twice as much revenue. And it's more than twice as much revenue because you're going to get more subs and more donations on Kick because your fans are going to know that it's all going to you and not going to Jeff. Because people are not hesitant, but they're not as excited to gift subs when they know half is going to Jeff.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think competition is we need more competitors in the streaming space because Twitch has the huge market share right now. YouTube is trying. They're at least they're trying their best to get there. But I think it's only a matter of time before a thing, like Kick will, at least cut in to Twitch enough for either Twitch to either completely blow up and it's not there anymore, and then Kick will be the market share leader, but eventually Kick will become Twitch because they're still a company.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
eventually a company will get so big that it will start doing crazy.
And now you got
Twitch
shareholders. Shit. Yeah, now you got shareholders, and now you have a fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders, and the shareholders like, maybe you should make it 70-30. And then once it's 70-30, it goes to 50-50, and it's inevitable for sure.
So eventually Twitch will not be the market share leader anymore. And I'm hoping that Kick and other platforms like it come out and say, I'm on GameJolt. GameJolt is another like social media website for creative people, like and it's gamer related. So I stream on GameJolt a whole bunch too, and there's a bunch of people on there that that only use like GameJolt because it's all video game related material. And it's a smaller platform, but like the bigger that they get, the more features that they'll be able to have in their live, and they will be a direct competitor eventually to Twitch. And it's just like I root for stuff like that. So, absolutely. Because like you said, any market without competition is just going to be bad for the consumer at the end of the day. Eventually it will just be a poorer experience for the consumer. And Twitch's decisions that they've been making as far as ads are concerned and stuff like that, and making people watch more ads and like 9 pre-rolls and honestly, and for small streamers, here's where what Twitch is doing is really killing small streamers. They're forcing a zillion pre-roll ads before someone clicks into a stream. So why is anybody, first of all, no one's going to be sub to you when they want to check you out. Ooh, someone playing drums. Let me check them out. 9 pre-roll ads, and I'll just go back to watching whatever the hell else I was watching. Who knows how many times that's happened? Like, you don't know how many times that's happened. You might have missed out on potential fans because of that. So it's not bad for the huge streamers, because the huge streamers have diehards who are just going to sit through the ads and or are sub to them. So it doesn't affect the huge streamers that much. But the smaller streamers, if you're going to have to sit through 9 pre-rolls, no one's going to wait for 9 pre-rolls to check out something they don't know. It's never going to happen. Yeah. I'm definitely thinking about it, and you're definitely convincing me. You're doing a good job of it. Well, look, at the very least, so you do if you were getting, so I wouldn't advise anybody in that direction if they felt like they were earning more followers and a bigger platform because of the streaming platform that they're on. See, like the reason why I stream on TikTok is because every time I do a live on TikTok, I get 300 new followers. So that's the reason why I stream on TikTok. Like, that's growing my brand. That's growth. And even if people aren't gifting me a bunch of diamonds and stuff like that, I am at least like, okay, this is a good loss leader for me. This was a good loss leader. If Twitch is not pushing out your stream to anybody, and it's only your 20 diehard fans who love watching you every week, those same 20 people are going to click into the Kick link. If you post it to them on Discord or whatever, those same 20 people are going to find you. And when they donate, you're going to earn twice as much money. So there's really no sense. If it's not going to push you out, you might as well get the most that you can from your diehard fans who want to support your career. Yeah, I appreciate your entrepreneurial attitude. I didn't realize this about you. I was like, you're a creative person,
just the guy who sings.
I appreciate it, because I'm just not, my headspace is not like, how do I monetize this? And my wife is like, you know what, you need to do this. Like, you're not taking advantage of the stuff that you have in front of you. And so I'm trying to get back in there and trying to just be more entrepreneurial about the stuff that I create. It's tough though, because I'm not a fan of for my content specifically and how I do things. I just play drums and I to live requests, and songs that I've never heard before, but I'm just gonna jam over them. Sure. And I feel weird about say only people who sub can request. I feel I feel like it's a paywall. It's basically a paywall. Yes. And I'm I'm not a fan of paywalls. For example, I love the clips of the show Game Changer. I love it. I think that show is so freaking funny and so great. But it's behind a paywall. I can't watch it unless I subscribe to freaking whatever the hell platform it's on. I'm like, well, no, I don't want it. I'm not watching it because it's behind a paywall. And so I'm like, I don't want to have that impact the experience, the viewing experience, for sure. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you definitely don't want that, because that will definitely
turn people off. It's more of a like it's a hard paradigm to paradigm shift to make, because it's like, well, if there's no benefit to paying, then people won't pay. But if there is a benefit to paying, it's going to turn people off because there's a benefit to paying that people don't feel like that they can get. So what I feel like it more is it's like if you take requests from everybody, it's like you can just have it be a policy like I'm going to prioritize subs requests. Like if I was playing a live show with my guitar, like if I saw a request that I was like, ooh, I definitely want to sing that. I don't care if that's from a subscriber or not from a subscriber. Mm-hmm. But if I have something that I'm on the fence about, and it's like, and it came from a subscriber, it's like, okay, you know what? I'll suck it up and I'll do it. Maybe I don't feel like playing that right now, but I'll pretend to be really excited to play that right now because, mm-hmm. One of my subscribers sent it in. And it kind of is more about like giving the people their flowers who have donated to you. Like I make a gigantic deal when someone subs, like I make a huge gigantic deal. Like I put on the echo and I was like, if someone subs, like if Evil Tim in my Discord subs, I go, Evil Tim, like with the big echo of that. Like I go out, like I just go above and beyond. And then people want to do that because then they are essentially renting out time on your stream. It's like an advertisement, which is a weird way to think about it. But people are literally paying for advertising space, not for a brand, but for themselves as a human being. They're paying for an advertising moment on your stream. And you think to yourself, if you're not a stream donator, you think to yourself, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would anybody pay money to do that? No, people pay money to do that. Like people really do. Like you wouldn't think that they do, but people definitely do. They love that. Your music schooling is really coming out right now. I'm just really impressed with your train of thought and like how it's just weaving through, and I really appreciate it because I'm trying to absorb all this. I'm like, right on. Oh yeah, okay, I got you. So let's backpedal to so you focused your content recently on, at least ever since I've known you, about around video games and stuff. So what's been your video game journey, and how has that morphed into music? Sure. So the video game journey, and this is like the odd duality that my career is taking right now, is that because a large majority of my time now is being spent actually playing video games, like playing Pokemon, doing Nuzlocke, doing ROM hacks. Like that's what I'm streaming every day on TikTok these days. But I do not have a prodigious background in gaming. Like obviously as a kid, like I played games and stuff like that. Like I played the hell out of Pokemon Red. I played, Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, all the ones that us millennials have played. But like I was not like a huge gamer. And I think a lot of people expect me to be. So I'm like really trying to farm up the idea that I'm not a gamer, that I'm a musician, that has built up this fan base of people who are gamers. Because if you look at my 140,000 followers, most of them are not music fans or musicians. They are gamers, and they like the music in the video game. So like I'm realizing that like my fan base isn't into a cappella music. Like that's absurd. They heard a song that they recognized and they saw 6 copies of Chris singing it and they thought that was funny or cool and they hit follow. They're not a cappella fans. Like I have a group of people who do look to me for that. I have like my old a cappella group, and I have, some groups that I work with that I arrange, and that's like more of like my musical sense. But like I've kind of just been pushed into this like video game type of world. And I do it, and I enjoy doing it because I like interacting with my fans. But like video games are not my passion. Music is my passion, and anybody who knows me like can obviously see that. But I do, and I'm sure you agree, the music in video games are some of the most well-written songs that have ever been written. In my mind.
Yeah, so there's no argument from me.
So I don't even need the context of a game. I don't necessarily need a context of a game to really appreciate a piece of music. Of course, if I have the context of the game, I usually appreciate it more. But I don't need the context of a game to really be like, wow, this music is incredible. This is great.
Oh yeah,
especially since it's go ahead.
I mean, for me, it's like when someone sends me like a battle theme, and I'm playing it, like I can pretty much, considering my experience in playing video games, I can be like, that's a solid battle theme.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So there is kind of like this overlap moment. But if like my long-term goals do not necessarily include, if someone asks like, Chris, are you fulfilling your dream right now, making a cappella versions of Mega Man or of Sonic? I'll be like, no. No, I'm not. This is fun, and I like doing this, and this is fun. But it's like it is a means to an end. Like this is like a proof of concept so that people can see, oh, not that Chris like loves video game music so much, but that Chris can produce a record. Chris can sing backup vocals. He can produce something for us. He can edit a video. He can write a jingle. He can make an ad. He can do these things. Like these are the ventures that I want to eventually.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, what is the end goal? Throughout all this, like best case scenario.
Literally best case scenario is to make a great living making music. That's the goal. That's the goal in whatever capacity. But I'm also wary of like the notion that like once music becomes my everyday work, I'm going to start viewing music as work a little bit, which is like the unfortunate aspect of it. I don't know if you've like felt any of that.
People have asked me all the time, like, you should start streaming playing video games instead of, and I'm like, dude, like me playing video games is my me time.
Yeah.
And, as soon as you start, like we discussed before, once you start doing something in front of an audience, it's a different vibe. Like, regardless if it's your best friends in the whole entire world, it's like, no, dude, like, I just want to sit here. I just came home from work and I don't want to think about anything else. I don't want to perform. I don't want to do anything. Because as you're a performer, like, you know what it means to like have that mindset. Just like, boom, I have to like perform now. It's just innate. It happens. And like, there's no way that I'll be able to be 100% comfortable playing like my favorite games or a game that I really want to get into and streaming it in front of people. So I don't like, that's why I don't stream playing video games. I mean, maybe I will in the future, like if I had more time. And that's the problem. It's like, I don't have, I got a full-time job. I got a family to take care of. I got responsibilities. I got a house, a mortgage. Like, it's like, do things fall apart? Like just the other day, I had to freaking take down a branch from a tree that I couldn't reach. It was like, well, I could climb the tree. It was like, no, because you're almost 40 and you're certainly
kill yourself.
Plummet to death.
Yeah, exactly.
So like try and figure out how to pull this damn branch down. And so like I spent like maybe an hour trying to fasten this huge pole. There's just like, it took like an hour out of my day.
Yeah, and those things are never expected. You can never plan for those things. Like those things you have to just take as they come. That's the only way to deal with them.
Yeah. And so, and so my precious little video game me time is like I said, very, very precious to me. And so I don't want to ruin that by streaming it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like important. I feel like it's definitely important. Like there can be some of that overlap in like something can be work and be fun and be both, and you can kind of have the same space for that. But I think it is still important to compartmentalize like this part of my life is for my well-being, and this part of my life is for my financial well-being, and this part of my life is for my emotional well-being, and I'm doing this for me.
Yeah.
So a video games for you is that aspect. Like for me, like playing a Pokemon game is work. Like, so someone asked me, are you going to play this game? Are you going to play this game? I'm just like, well, I'm going to be honest. If I'm not going to stream it, I'm not going to play it. Because I'm not going to sit down and play a game after like my life is like video game OSTs and playing games on stream. And it's like, okay, work is done. Let's play a different game. So like for me, but like if you grew up in a space where like video games were like your escape, like I can see not wanting to associate work with that. Like for me, video games were not like, it's not a huge part of my life. So I'm fine having it be work.
And I'm finding like, and I'm just now starting to earn money. Well, not just now, but like in the last, year streaming, I'm now like earning money. And so it's like I'm taking something with drumming, like because drumming was also an escape for me as well.
Yes.
Because I never like it wasn't a passion for me to like learn every aspect of percussion and notes and jazz and all that stuff. It's like I just like to bang on shit.
Yeah.
And that was my escape. And now this escape is turning into something that could be financially viable in the future. And now I'm just starting to see what that all entails. And I'm like, I want to be careful because I don't want to turn drumming into, something that I'm like, God, It's like
Yes, yes, yes.
it
A
hasn't
hundred
happened
percent.
yet. Like I still like have a
A hundred.
great time doing what I do.
Yes.
But like there might come a time where it's like I really don't want to do this today.
Yeah, yes,
You know?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. But that's why like having a niche POV will help that from not happening. So like if I want to make music to like for stress relief or for myself, I'll pick up my guitar and I might sing or play some covers. I'm not going to make a video game a cappella. That's sure as shit what I'm not going to do during my free music time. And maybe you're not going to play drums to, to Dr. Kazak, in your free time. Like maybe you're throwing on Metallica to bang to,
Well, it kind of sucks
after the
because
therapeutic
like
aspect.
what's different between just drums and acapella or guitar or whatever is like I have to actually use the actual track. Like and so DMCA is like all over my ass if I
Yes.
dare to play Metallica on a live stream.
Yes,
Like so it's unfortunate that I can't, and because people ask me all the time, it's like, hey, can you play like Between the
But
Buried?
you're gonna get
I can't,
slammed.
like that's a real band. A real quote unquote.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
like severely copyrighted music. Like
Yes.
Sony doesn't
Yes, it
like
is.
that.
No, yes.
And
yes.
I'm getting DMCA'd for like weird like anime tunes that were I'm not a big anime watcher, but I get anime requests all the time, and things that I like was in the anime are DMCA'd.
Yes.
I'm just like, that's so
Yes.
weird. So like, and sometimes like video game stuff gets DMCA'd too. Like for example, the Paradise Killer. There's a game called Paradise Killer, and it's like I feel like I've never played the game myself personally, but it's got an amazing, incredible OST. And so I played the intro track or the opening track or whatever, and sure enough, it gets muted on YouTube, gets muted on Twitch, and I'm like, so wait a minute. So can this game not be streamed then? Like, so when people play this game on Twitch or on YouTube or whatever, that whole part gets muted.
Yeah. So I have some insight on this if you want, because I have the music. I would love
that. Please give it to me.
So here's the insight, and here's what's important to know. For most video game OSTs, for most of them, if you hyper look at like what they would say is allowed or not allowed, they would say that none of it is allowed. So like by the book, none of it is allowed. If you're monetizing and the song is playing in the background, no, they would say no. However, streaming platforms do have like this carve out in their agreement where it's basically what it essentially boils down to, without getting into the legalese of it. It essentially boils down to the like, we're going to look the other way about dinging all of these with content matching, which is why you're getting dinged. You're getting dinged from content matching, which I'm going to talk about in 1 second. But some games, the publishers are just like, no, like they literally are like, are actively looking at content matching and looking to flag it and looking to pull things down. Now, what a lot of people think is the reason why this is happening is because of the copyright on the publishing from the songwriter. That is not what's happening. The reason why none of my stuff is ever going to get pulled down is because it's not the original record. It's not the original recording or the masters. Yes, that is what is being heavily protected. It's the sound itself. So like when your video gets muted because you were at a bar and and some Katy Perry song was playing in the background, it's not getting muted because the songwriter who wrote California Girls or whatever is saying like, no, you can't use my song. It's getting muted because of the actual mechanical license of the record of California Girls. So the way you would have to get around that if you wanted to play with these is you would have to find like great covers of the songs to play along with. And the video game stuff is actually the easiest to do this because there are dozens and dozens of like amazing remixes that are like close but not enough to get content ID matched that you can play along with for the video game stuff.
Yeah, and that's another it's not the main reason I live streaming playing video game music. The main reason I do that is because that's what I've always done since like I was a kid, like playing drums,
play along with play
around the OST. I would download like MIDI tracks, like back, from VG Music Archive,
VG Music, dude, I still use it. VGmusic.com, I still use it. That's how do you think I make my acapellas? That's how I do it. It tracks everything out, and it has all the parts, and then I just sing them. That's what I did. That's how I make it. It's the
one avenue that I could, that I could live stream using the original tracks. And especially with the old Super Nintendo tracks, like no one's copyrighting that shit. Oh, no, actually, no. That's not necessarily true. I actually got dinged on TikTok for like a Donkey Kong tune from Super Nintendo. And I was like, "Are you serious?"
You got muted. It got muted out.
Yeah, it got muted. I was like, "What? What?"
When that happens on TikTok. So when that happens on TikTok, and I've been losing my mind lately on TikTok because I've been getting videos muted for violating my own fucking copyright. Like that. That's my favorite thing. So like, I'll like repost a video, like I'll post an old video, and then it's just like, this has been muted because you're violating Chris Lombardi Acapella's copyright. I'm like, are you like this? Like, yeah, hello? Like, there's no system in place for this. But the reason why that's happening to you is somebody is claiming those sounds on TikTok. And people definitely do that. If they find like a video that they think is popped off, they'll take the sound, they'll register the sound, they'll claim the sound. It doesn't happen a lot it happens way less on TikTok than on Twitch or YouTube, but it does still happen from time to time.
I actually watched like some like YouTube video on that being a big problem in the YouTube space, where people being copyright claimed.
Yes, and that
own the fucking copyright.
Yes, and that is like an unwritten. If you talk to any of the big creators, it's like an unwritten rule on YouTube. It's like you do not copyright strike people. Like if someone's using your video and reacting to it, like the whole rule of thumb is do not copyright strike people. Like, because it's better for all of us if we can all use each other's content. Like we're all going to eat more if you do that. If you start copyright striking everything for everything, the content's going to suffer. People are going to get their channels banned. Like it's not good. So it's like an unwritten rule that you're not supposed to do that. But if you have like a stooge channel this is a little piece of mine, I'm gonna copyright strike it. Like sometimes they'll do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so like that's the only avenue that I could see of playing. But apparently, according to some people in my chat, they're like, "Oh, I see, drummers play to fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers and all that stuff." I'm like, "Are you what?" And they can get away with it? Like, I don't know, man. Like,
I'll tell you this. Not to circle back to this. You're not going to run into a problem on Kick. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing on Kick. I don't know what kind of payola is happening with Stake and the gambling with Kick. But like, people are straight up watching Demon Slayer on Kick, and nothing's happening. Like people are just watching Demon Slayer.
Because it's not. I think Kick will get big enough for that to eventually become an issue.
Yes.
That's just it's copyright. It's like all it takes is because I live here in Nashville, and all it takes is ASCAP or BMI to go.
Why did I think you were on the West Coast? Not an idiot for that?
No, because I originally am from Las Vegas. I'm originally that's like where I was basically grew up is from like age 5 to 20, and then I moved out here in the South when I was 20. On. So.
So I'm way off then. For some reason, I thought
I mentioned Vegas all the time. I mentioned Vegas all the time.
Yeah, but I'm associating you with like Oregon, Washington for some reason. But that's just my own headcanon. I don't know.
Well, what's funny is like because I don't know because my wife has like, "Where's Chris from?" And I'm like, "I think he's from New Jersey."
That's correct.
I can't remember if it was just because your overall like
that type of
confrontational demeanor.
Yes.
Or no, but it's true. I saw
the stereotype tracks. Yes,
this dude's definitely from Jersey.
Yes. Born and raised. So yeah, it does make sense.
You're like, fuck.
No, because you don't give me Nashville vibes, but that makes sense.
That makes because I basically formed a person in Vegas on the West Coast, and so I say dude and what the hell, but you know what though. Living out here in Nashville, I've really taken on y'all. Like, I'll say y'all, man.
That's a ubiquitous one. I use y'all sometimes also, and I have no ties to the South whatsoever. But it's just a good one. It's just an easy one.
And then I say ain't to just piss off my wife.
Yeah, she doesn't like it
because she's born and raised, and so she does not like the accent when it's like super heavy.
Oh
she's heard it her whole life.
Yes.
And so I like I'll throw in the just hey y'all.
Yeah. Just to twist the knife a little bit.
I'll tell you what, man.
I'll tell you what.
You got to put the H in there.
Yes, you got to put the H in the front. Yes, absolutely.
So like, oh yeah, I mean to ask you this because I saw this clip from your TikTok. What it was during your live stream. What was all of that about? Some person didn't eat vegetables. What was? Oh
yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
You just like
that was a kick stream. That was a kick stream. Yeah, because the dude is like I feel like we've normalized like. We have super, and this is going to sound like a boomer, and I always try to like catch myself before I give the boomer take. But like when I like, sometimes I'm just like, all right, this is a boomer take, but I feel it deep in my soul. Like there is something wrong with folks who like have a laundry list of things that they don't eat. Like there is just like something wrong with folks. Like it's like you are going to, and I'm like, here's the reason why you need to. And this is what I would tell my students all the time, because my students would be like, why do I need to know this? Why do I need to know this? I'm never going to use this. I'm never going to use this. I'm like, you're right. I'm like, you're not going to use it. I'm like, but here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Why do I need to know when the Civil War was? Well, here's why you need to know that. Because when you're in a social setting and your dumbass thinks that the Civil War happened in 1312, you're going to look like a stooge, and everyone's just going to be like, get the hell away from that guy. That guy has no clue what's going on. He can't be trusted for shit. This guy can't be trusted for anything. He thinks the Civil War happened in the 12th century. Get this guy the hell out of here. And I feel the same way about people who don't eat vegetables. Imagine you show up at a party. Imagine you're like, manage a hedge fund. And it's like, hey, office gathering tonight, manage the hedge fund. And then you go off and like they're bringing around hors d'oeuvres and they're bringing around like a stuffed mushroom. So like, no, I don't eat that. Do you have any pigs in a blanket? You're dipping it into the fucking ketchup and eating it. If anybody sees you, they're going to be like, well, this guy's not a serious human being. He can't be serious. He's eating freaking chicken fingers while all the rest of us are eating real food.
I just imagine like a boardroom of guys in suits and everyone's drinking like coffee and having like little hors d'oeuvres and everything. And he's like, is it possible I can get some mozzarella?
Yeah, can I get chicken finger? Do you have soda? No, not Pepsi. Do you guys have Coke and chicken finger? Like no, like you can't.
And you can't deny that. And here's the other thing: you can't say it's like I'm vegan or whatever. It's like you can't. There's no like
no.
It's literally I don't eat vegetables. Diet, but like
yeah, I guess. But I mean, then you're that guy. That's a whole other problem. Then you're that guy. Like at least being vegan, it's like see these picky eater folks, they could never pretend to be vegan because they don't eat any fucking vegetables. the picky eaters never eat any vegetables. It's like no, not this. And I was telling the guy in my chat, we were cracking up. I'm just like, let me fucking guess. I was like, I bet you I can guess. He's like, I only eat like 1 or 2 vegetables. I'm like, let me guess, fucking corn. I'm like, let me guess, you eat corn. You're literally 5 years old. You're 5 years old. I eat corn. That's what the kids say. That's what kids say when the adults say, "Oh, the kid doesn't eat any vegetables back now." Yes, I do. I eat corn. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't be a functioning member of society and not eat any vegetables. You can't.
What's funny about that though is like I was a person up until like I was 18. I think it was around 18 or 19 when I really was like, okay, I got to start eating vegetables. I got to start eating like, I got to start like acting like a grown up.
Yeah, enough's enough.
Yeah, I can't just continue. Although I do love me some mozzarella sticks and chicken fingers. Let me tell you.
Of course.
But like, it's just funny because I'm wondering like if that person is just young and ridiculous, or if it's like 30.
See, that's the thing. No, Shane, I checked for this. For this. I'm not gonna like end up lacing into a kid and he's just like, well, I'm 12. That happens all the time. And then I'll be like, shit. All right, it's fine. No, this is a nearly 30-year-old man. It's way past time. And here's another thing. Here's something that here's a secret that no one will tell you. Just because you don't fucking love something doesn't mean that you can't eat it. Like you can eat something that you don't prefer. You can find something not that good and still eat it. And it's worth doing so that you don't look like the person who refuses to eat an asparagus.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Like if you're across the street, if you're across the table from like, Drake or something, and they're eating like some pretty fancy food. What are you going to do? What are you
going to be pushing it aside? And don't get me, we didn't get into this, but it's like the person who's like making sure that no aspects of the food on the plate touch the other aspects of food on the plate. Like, do that inside your own home. If you do that in public, I promise you people are seeing you. Like, you're not unnoticed. People are like, oh, I can do this. No one will notice. No, everybody notices you. We've all noticed that guy.
Well, hang on now. What if they're OCD? What if, what if they got an affliction?
Yeah, you got to announce. You got to announce. You got to announce. You got to just be like, guys, I'm not this picky. I promise. This is just something that's going to make me feel emotionally comfortable. I promise. I'm gonna it's not the taste of it. I'm not I promise you that this is just no. Yeah, you got it. You got to go on full blast and announce.
Oh my God. I just thought that was so fucking funny.
Yeah, no, that moment. We still get on that guy in my Discord every single time. And when that guy chimes into the Discord, all the broccoli emotes pop up.
All right. So are you the same way? Okay. Because here's the deal. I'm gonna, I don't like fruit very much myself.
Okay.
Is it the same rule?
Okay. So
but I will eat it. I will eat it if we're in a social setting.
Okay. So right off the bat, if you are willing to eat, so being willing to eat, because look, you can't help what you have taste and distaste for. Like, you can acquire a taste for something and not hate it as much, but you can't make yourself like something. Mm-hmm. However, if the list of foods that quote make you sick or make you vomit is like a laundry list long, like, it's you. Like, it's not that just like, oh, well, I can't, like, you can't eat these things. Like, you literally can't eat these things. And look, fruit is super duper dodgeable. But the picky eaters, it's not just the vegetables. The picky eaters eat no vegetables. They eat like maybe one or two fruits. The meats that they eat, they only eat if they're made a certain way. If it's a pasta dish that has like a speck of green in it, then they're not eating the whole pasta dish because it has a leaf in it. So they're not going to eat the entire thing.
Yeah. Oh, they'll send it back.
Yes.
I will never send back food, even if it's the wrong dish.
I would rather.
I did not order this, but I'll eat it.
I would rather choke it down. Starving. Yeah, exactly. But these people, they're never subtle about it. They'll be the first one to be like, I don't eat anything here. They're the first ones to say it. Like, you're broadcasting that you're a stooge.
Oh my God, dude. I meant to ask you. I'm gonna piggyback off the. Were you ever in bands at all? Like, growing up in high school, did you ever like play bass, or guitar, or whatever?
Yes,
all that stuff?
Yes. So in high school, I was in like this band with this like guitar player. It's gonna get back to this kid. I already know this kid's gonna hear this fucking cast somehow. There's no reason for him to hear it, and he's gonna hear it. I was in a band with this kid who just like, I don't know, man. Like, he just thought he was a great guitar player. And that's like what really like he kind of blew my mind when I first met him, because I was under the impression that like the professional guitar players, like the metal guitar players. So like when I was like Randy Rhoads and like Joe Satriani, Kirk Hammett, Metallica, I was under the impression, that only they could play like that. Like, I thought like, oh, professionals play like this, amateurs play like this. That was my impression. And this kid, when we were trying to form the band, he's like, I could play the Mr. Crowley solo on guitar. I'm like, bullshit. No, you can't. And he played it and it was flawless. And I'm like, this kid's really good. But then when we started things, like, he thought he was a little bit better than he even was. And it was always like delusions of grandeur. And we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And then it never really happened. And he thought his songs were like the greatest songs ever written. And they were just like the middest songs ever written. So like there was a little bit of that, but that was still a good experience. I do not think it was a bad experience. And then cover bands. Yeah, I mean, like I'm playing bars in New Jersey and stuff like that.
Oh, currently?
With my friends. Oh yeah. Well, not so much anymore, but back in my 20s for sure. And I'll still play an occasional gig. Here and there.
So when you were in like bands and stuff like that, you looked at it as sort of like, just, this is a fun thing. Like it might do something, but it wasn't like, I'm gonna ride or die being in a. No,
we're
gonna tour and get signed and all that stuff.
No. Especially since like once I found like production and recording, I found how much more I enjoyed that than the live performance aspect. And even to this day, my wife will tell me. My wife will concur. Every time I finish playing a live gig, I come back from the live gig and I say, that was fun, and I'm never going to do it again. Like I say that all the time, because
that's so fascinating. I love talking to other musicians, because there's so many different levels of musicianship. Like there's people like who love the production and making and creating music. And then there's people like who basically me, like I love playing live in front of in person, like making like some people say like, you should be a studio drummer. It's like, first of all, not good enough for that, because those guys can look at a piece of paper and never hear the song. And
it's a different modality. Yeah.
You know,
it's not the same modality at all.
It's a job for them. Like they don't look like they're having the best time, but they're fucking killing it.
No,
you know?
yeah.
But like, you know, I'm the live person. I love playing in front of a crowd. And then there's the, you know, the people that are kind of in the middle, like they love both aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just find that's just that whole different modes of thought, modes of passion.
Yes. Well,
interesting.
The studio aspect of things, if you get too involved in the studio aspect of things, I have firmly believe that will ruin you for live, because then you start to get an expectation of how tight things should be, how well equalized things should sound, how pristine everything should be, because you work in a studio and you work in a space where it's like you have the tools at your disposal to make sure all of those things happen. So then once those things don't happen live, because it's not possible for those things to happen live unless you're working with like the greatest sound guy and like engineers and people who are going to be working the boards for you and you know, make sure that your monitors are perfect. So once that happens for me, like for me, like when I go play an acoustic gig, like with like my guitar and like my amp and stuff like that, like the second I like turn on my guitar and stuff like that, I'm immediately thinking like, are they hearing this okay? Is this sounding good? Is the balance right? Is the guitar going to feedback? Like all these things where if it happens in the studio, I just start again, which once you pop off in a performance, you know, you don't have that. You don't have that luxury.
Yeah. It's just like, this is, well, you know, good or bad. It's going to happen.
And there's beauty in that. And a lot of people and the live musicians who love live, they love the beauty of the live performance. They love that it happens once, that it's fleeting. It's going to be gone as soon as it's done. And there will never be another one like it. And a lot of live musicians absolutely love that. And I can sympathize with that, and I can empathize, and I get it. I just don't feel it, because like I am like always hoping or wanting it to be better or sound better. And even when it comes to my performance, like I don't tolerate, I mean, like you hear my stuff, like obviously my stuff is like pristinely edited, hyper compressed and aligned and tuned and equalized to sound a certain way. And like when I don't sound like that, I miss a note, I'm like a sixth of a tone flat or something like that. Like it's like a little chip away for me. So like every time I play live, I'm like, I should not do this.
Yeah, I always wonder this, and I've been wondering this since being a musician, and since like digital has basically gone on the scene like 2 decades ago or whatever. But like I'm always wondering if we're ever going to get like, because right now you just, everything is, like you said, very pristine and very mechanical. Especially in like, you know, in metal. And I hear it as a drummer, and I'm listening to it as like, I'm pretty positive that no drummer can play this.
No, the triggers are too fast and too accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sure there are drummers out there that can play that shit, and they're just incredible. Like the dude from Meshuggah, like that dude is like, he's a machine. He's an actual machine. They created in a lab. But like, I always wonder, like, is there going to be a time where people start to want the more sort of live feeling? Is that going to become popular again rather than this? Like,
this is a great thing to talk about, Shane. This is a great thing to talk about, because this topic always comes up with musicians, and I feel like it's one of the most like primal ways that musicians are very different. And even though like I super err on the side of like, you know, compressed, tight, like make it sound good, I think it very much matters on the context of how the music is being consumed. So like, to me, I'm of the mind, if something is a record, if something is a studio record, if it's being designed to be consumed in an audio format after the fact, to be consumed over and over and over again, and the purpose of the performance, Shane, is like the artifact, like I think it should be perfect, or I think it should be as close to perfect as still sounds natural. However, on the flip side of that, if something is a live performance and then it starts to sound that tight and that perfect, now you sort of like broken this like pane of glass of reality that's going to be jarring to people. Like that is going to be jarring to people, and it's subconscious, and the lay listener is not thinking of this, but it's still subconscious. You're expecting certain level of impersonation. You're in a live absolutely right.
I actually just was watching one of the metal channels that I follow on YouTube. They were talking about a controversy about there's someone faking a drummer is faking the kick pedal.
Yes, I saw that too.
I saw the same one. Okay,
yes,
so I'm like,
yes.
Is that a real thing? But it could, and he started talking about it. It's like, it might be the fact that they're just so good that it's breaking that reality pane that you were just talking about.
Yes,
like,
I mean, that could be. And then what is that guy supposed to do if he is that good? I mean, like we've seen with guitar players too, they're playing outrageously fast. You're like, it can't be real. No, it is. It is. It absolutely is real. It just doesn't seem humanly possible to a lay person. But the thing is like, I feel like, so a lot of people, let's say he was faking it. This is a good thought exercise. Let's say he was faking it. So I feel like there's like two ways to look at that. A lot of people might feel like I'm cheated. That's not you. I'm paying to see an authentic performance. That's not you. I don't like that. But then on the flip side of it is just like, well, if it's triggered and it's fake and the pedal is fake, is that making an objectively better listening experience, a tighter musical performance, something that's more pleasing to listen to because, you know, the 30-second note freaking triplets at 160 BPM are right on. If they're off, that's going to sound bad. So then it's like, well, what's correct? It really is one of the most subjective things that could exist.
And it could be too that he like maybe he hurt his leg. Maybe he
right. There's all sorts of context.
He has a broken leg and he's like, well, we got to play the show.
Yes.
We can't cancel the show because we'll be out of money.
Yeah, exactly. Or it doesn't even have to be that drastic. It could just be like, it could literally just be like the pedal that I use for this song, like has a broken chain. The chain broke. What do we do?
And so
I don't have another one.
Fly.
I don't have another one. They can't fit like there's a zillion things. There's a zillion things that it could be. And everybody's going to have like a different view on that. But I feel like that if you're a musician, I feel like if you are doing something to make a better listening experience for your audience, I don't think you can be faulted for that. Now, if you have like auto-tune on your vocals for live, a lot of people would be like, this is not a better listening experience. This is worse because this isn't authentic. And if more people think that it's a worse listening experience, then you shouldn't do it.
Well,
if more people think it's better.
Super Bowl, like people like lost their absolute crap when they found out that the band, you know, that's not where the music is coming from. And it's all performance. And that was a huge like hullabaloo with Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yes.
But they kind of just leaned into it. And they were just like, hey, we want to play the Super Bowl. So
yes,
you know, we're not really playing, but
then you have to ask yourself, what's the purpose? Like ask yourself, what is the purpose of this being done right now? So like, is the purpose for the people at the Super Bowl to get an authentic live performance from the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Or is the purpose for this to be as pristine as possible for the fact that this is broadcasting to millions and millions of people? What's the purpose? If the purpose
is technical issues that could happen, you know, I don't know, like
why risk that? Why risk that? For the sake of authenticity, just the sake of authenticity. If you have an electric, this one, the guitar string breaks and this and that, it's like, oh, well, I guess the performance is fucked, but it's authentic. Hope you liked it.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And I think that's the number one reason why Metallica still hasn't played it. Because like, well, number one, like Lars, I mean, you can't, there's no way that you can fake a Lars beat, because every time he plays, whether it's the same fucking song, it's a different BPM, it's a different different fill, he might not even
do something
he'll
exactly.
mess it up, like, because that's what he does it all the time.
That's part of his thing.
You know, but that's part of his thing. Like I have conversations with some musicians, and they're like, oh, you can play like Lars Ulrich, and you know, he's like the worst drummer ever. I'm like, you know what? I don't think he is the worst drummer ever. I think he's actually one of the top tier drummers just for the charisma aspect alone, because I feel like having charisma, especially during a live setting, is so important.
Yes,
it's one of the more important things. It's like 70% how you look to the lay person and who you're performing to. You're not performing to just musicians. You're performing to mostly people who have never picked up a guitar. They just like the music and they don't peer any further in. They're just I love this song and I love this band, and look, and they'll see Lars back.
Look at him.
I mean,
he's going nuts
especially during the Injustice for All tour. Oh my God, he's just like, and the BPM is way too fast. It's like you can barely. It's unintelligible music.
Band is trying to keep up with him, but also subtly trying to drag him back down to earth.
But it doesn't matter, because the energy that he's putting out, it's infectious. You know, you're just like, oh yes. I am rock and roll. You know, exactly. Is rock and roll. That's metal. It's not just everything is perfect and pristine and you know, on a click track and whatnot. Like it was like punk was like that. Like you know, like I appreciate a good metronome. Don't get me wrong. I love metronomes. I'd much rather play to a click track than to not, because I know that I'm not going to be speeding up because I'm super amped, or I'm like slowing down because I'm too drunk.
Yes, one or the other.
But there is something to be said for just the pure primal animalistic music making in a live setting.
Sure. Yes. 100%. And but you know what, Shane, that's something you have to earn. Like that is one of those things that I feel like you have to earn by performing well, by entertaining people, by making people buy in to you and not just the notes that you're playing. You have to get people to buy into that. But the reason why I would never suggest to people to try to be like Lars, because Lars is Lars. Like I would never suggest to people to be like that, because that can be a very easy excuse for sloppiness. It's like, oh, I don't need to be tight. Lars isn't tight. I don't need to learn how to play this correctly. I don't need to keep on tempo because Lars does it and everybody loves him and it's great. Well, it's great when he does it because he's earned that. It's not great when you do it because nobody knows who you are.
Nobody.
Because you are nobody, and now all you are is a shit drummer who can't keep time. It's like you try to do Lars Ulrich in rehearsal and everyone's gonna stop playing and they're gonna be looking back. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You trying to fuck me up? Get back on tempo. Dumb nuts. But if you earn it, if you get there and you earn it, then it's but see, the thing is, Lars was never intended oh, I don't care that I'm offbeat. I don't care that I'm doing this. I don't care. It was organic when he did it. It was organic. It made sense to him. And people latched on to how organic it was and how natural it was. And people loved those performances, even though they were sloppy. They didn't love them because they were sloppy. They loved them even though they were sloppy. And that's what earns you the right to be like that.
It's a part of him, and it's a part of the band. It's that's just, right. People early on, people are like, why do they still have Lars? I'm like, because that's their sound. He's a part of their sound, whether it's super fast or not played correctly or completely messing up. It's a part of the show. It's like, what song is Lars going to mess up now? There's huge stadium shows that they've played, and he completely messes up and they'll stop the song. Rule number 1 is never stop playing. They will stop the song and look back.
Because he got so excited. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah, you good? You good now?
You good? All right.
Yeah.
Start it over again.
Let's go again. Yeah, no. And if Metallica dumped Lars and got Mike Portnoy to play drums, I'm sure a lot of drummers would have been really excited for that. I'm sure there was a lot of drummers who would have been like, yes, finally, an amazing drummer. This will be perfect. But it would lose the identity. And again, there's more context. They came up together. They know each other. They've built together. It's not oh, we can just replace this piece with something better. Something could be objectively better from a musical standpoint and completely not fit, completely not work.
It's kind of like being on tour with hired musicians. If you're trying to get a gig, you need to be able to hang with people and be respectful and kind, and all of that is so important, rather than they would have a guy who can play your parts perfectly.
Yes, all of that.
It's a spectrum. And if you have just this, but you're a complete tool,
yes,
you're not going to get the gig.
Yes, exactly. And this is why music is in such a art in general is in such a unique space, because it really does have so many of the very hyper objective, logical, analytical aspects of a business or a hedge fund, where it's well, if you're making money, you're doing good. And I don't care how big of an asshole you are. If you're making us money, you're good. But it's also on the same side, it's the complete antithesis in terms of artistic and emotions and feeling. And if this feels good, and am I having fun? And is this something that is bringing me joy? And if it's not, I don't want to do it anymore. That's why music, I feel like music just it embodies that to just the perfect extent. That's why it's the greatest.
Yeah. There's one thing that I've always appreciated, and it's kind of why I've leaned towards just my appreciation of video games, is because video game OSTs, and I'm probably video game OSTs don't have the luxury of lyrics a lot of the time, and so they have to tell a story and convey a feeling without you hearing a feeling or how you're supposed to be feeling.
I feel like I'm talking right now. Keep going. I feel like I'm literally talking. So I've said these exact words.
Because people have asked me why don't you play to normal music. Like, people, I know that song, like, why don't you play to that? It's because, like, growing up, man, like, I appreciated the feeling that I would get listening to these soundtracks. And I know 100%. I'm not the only one. And that's why I do play to video game soundtracks and prefer to play to video game soundtracks, because those songs meant to me as, fucking nothing else matters felt to a metalhead,
Yep. 100%. And that's because, and the reason for that, and this is, a lot of people are very lyric pilled. A lot of people are very tied to the words of a song. They're like literally hearing, words, and they're garnering meaning, obviously from the lyrics, which makes perfect sense. But like a song that does not have lyrics, like you would think it's like, oh, it doesn't have meaning because it doesn't have lyrics. Like it cannot be understated how powerful a great melody is. And that's why when people ask, like, well, what kind of music are you into? I'm like, I'm into great songs. Like, that's what I'm into. That's where I've landed. Like, I would never like separate genres. I would never be like, I like these genres, I don't like these genres. Well, is the song good? Like, is it melodic? Is it memorable? Is it going to make me feel something? Like, I want a great song. And you don't need words for it to be a great song. You could just literally just hum it. And that's why people love instrumental covers of songs with lyrics. Why do you still like it? The lyrics are gone. It's just like, well, that's not really what it's about. It might add, but that's not what it's exactly about.
I've always listened to songs through melody and rhythm and all that stuff. Like, I was never a lyric guy. I was never like, the lyrics never like spoke to me. Mm-hmm. And so I'll be listening to a song that makes me feel a certain way, and then someone will tell me, like, you know what the lyrics are saying? Like,
no, like, it's actually, I don't, because I'm not even paying attention to it.
I don't, like, because the music is telling me what's going on besides, the singer telling me.
Yes. And a lot of people, to a lot of people, that sounds crazy. I know to a lot of people, it'd be like, what do you mean you're getting meaning? They think we're artsy wonks who are feeling that. But when a song hits you like that, like, that's when you know. That's when you know. Like, go listen to Moon Theme. Go listen to Moon Theme and tell me. And people will be like, oh, this song could really use some lyrics. No, you're an idiot. No. Like this is perfect.
Well, because
like, this is absolutely perfect.
The lead line is like, the lead line is the lead. Like, that is, it doesn't need anything else. It's da 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 da. Yeah. Like, that's it. What's taking over.
That's the song.
The song.
Those NES tracks used 4 lanes of sound. Four lanes of sound.
Insane.
If you wanted a rhythm track, then that's 3. Then that's, if you wanted drums, if you wanted rhythm on your track, then that's 3 lanes of tonality that you can use. 3 lanes of tonality. You want a chord? You better arpeggiate that bitch, because you're not playing all 3 notes at the same time.
Masters of using the tools that they had. Like, crazy. I mean, I guess every musician does that to a certain extent, because you only have 6 string. Well, you can get crazy. And get
but all those people writing those songs, I guarantee you, they all composed those songs on piano, because the greatest songwriters and composers, at least of instrumental music, are playing piano. Of course, Koji and all those stuff, expert piano players. But then the process of, okay, I have this piece that I played on piano, this polyphonic piece that at any given time might have 6 or 7 tones happening at once. How am I now going to take this piece and just extract the most essential elements of it so that I'm still conveying the meaning that I want to convey, because I have 3 tones to work with? It's crazy.
That's actually pretty insane. That's actually something that, like, someone should, like, maybe you should try it out, because I can't play piano or whatever, but like, maybe you should create something polyphonic and something like really nice and everything like that, and then see if you can turn it into
an NES track. Yes. I would going backwards would be interesting. The tough part is, see, if you listen to the remake, I always use Moon Theme because I think it's perfect, because it's just the pinnacle example of this. If you listen to the redo of Moon Theme, the one for the remake, this big symphonic, amazing thing, and it hits in it's phenomenal. I obviously prefer it. Like, it's just more tremendous, and I prefer it. But you go back to the NES one, and you're like, no, this has it all. This still has it. It's still giving me the same feeling. Yeah. You don't get all the timbral differences with all the orchestra pieces, but it's still very identifiably the same song. And not just because of the melody, but because of the accompaniment as well. They arpeggiated all those chords. There's just an arpeggio a bass line and the melody. So the bass is playing is basically playing long whole notes and half notes, and then the lane 2 is just playing like it's just playing the chords, but it's arpeggiating it, and then you have the melody. So it's giving you all of this bigness with nothing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, and that's why I love the video game soundtracks. That's like,
Me too.
It's just like, even if it's a game I've never played before, it's like this composer is telling me, is conveying a feeling for me. Like it does it every single time. Like I haven't played all of the the Shin Megami Tensei series. I haven't played all of that. I've only played the Persona series, but like, Shoji Meguro does pretty much all of them, all the Shin Megami Tensei, and like they all have a feeling. I'm like, oh, Shoji, hell, give it to me. Like this is it.
Persona music is absolutely. Now that I feel like is like a different realm of video game OST, because those songs, like the songs in like Persona or Marvel vs. Capcom 2, or even Sonic Adventure 2, like those songs were written for the purpose of writing a song and not necessarily to be a video game soundtrack. But then the genius comes in, is just like, which songs do we pick for this that will actually work? Because you can't just plug in a regular mainstream song and expect it to work in a video game. But why does Sonic Adventure 2 work so why does it work so well? Somebody made those choices.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated, like how, because I do know, like, Nobuo Uematsu for Final Fantasy VIII, I read that he wasn't even he didn't even like read the whole story. He didn't have time to read the story or whatever, and so they just sent him pictures of the characters, because it was like right during development, and so the story wasn't like made already.
Yes,
and so he just had pictures of characters, and he
had to infer
songs. Yeah, inferring from the characters, making the themes.
Wild.
And I'm like, that's fascinating. That's
Wild.
so cool, because then the story kicks in, and you're like, oh my God, this all works.
Yeah,
and he did it
awesome.
Based on pictures. That's just so crazy.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And this is like a space, and like, I don't know if you agree with it, but I feel like we're in like a similar space in like music and like largely covers and like appreciating other people's music. This is one of the reasons why I like never really got very much into songwriting, is because a lot of people, in order to like really like get good at songwriting, like you really have to think your songs are great. Like you have to be positive your songs are great, because that's the only thing that will keep you doing it. Like anytime I compose something, I'm like, man, this is like not as good as the people who are really good at this. Like this is just not as good. That could just be you're it's like, that's the trouble, right? It's like trying to diagnose yourself. Yes.
It's like almost impossible. You listen to it and it's just like, and you get too close to it. Like I've experimented with making, music here and there, and I don't call myself a composer by any means, but I still had fun with it. Yeah. But there are times where I'm working on this one part and I'm just like, I'm trying over and over and over and over again, because I hear this in my head, but it's not translating to what I need it to be. And just like, I step away from it, because I quit, and I'm just like, I'm done. And then I'll come back to it. Like,
you got to step away. You got to step away, because you get tunnel vision. And then you're not seeing that bit in a realistic view. Like you end up hyper focusing on things, and the totality and the context of the song like disappears. It vanishes in the blinders of your tunnel vision, and it just disappears. And then you're hyper focusing on an aspect of the piece that no listener is ever going to hyper focus on. It's never going to happen. Like, but you're hyper focusing on it, and the more you hyper focus on it, the worse it gets, and the more you have to hyper focus on it. It's a nightmare. So you have to do the exact antithesis of what you think. You have to go away.
It's like, it's so hard. It's so hard to judge yourself and your own work. It'll never not be that way. Like, I feel like you're always going to get into a point where you're going to be hyper, especially if it's something that you really care about. Like, I really like the beginning of this song, and I really have an idea that I really want to convey here, but I'm stuck in this fucking chorus,
Yep.
It's like, where does this go? And so,
exactly.
It's just
And with
perils of being a musician.
Yeah, and with composition, it's much harder because there's no like with a cover, like you could say, okay, I objectively covered this song well because X, Y, and Z. It sounds like it here. I flipped it a little bit here. Like fans of the song still like it. That's another great barometer that you can use. Like so, when you play a cover on the drum, if like fans of that song are like, hell yeah, bro, now that's a little bit of validation. Like I did a good job at this. Whereas if it's a composition that you're writing, there's nothing to compare it to. It's just like kind of like, what are you going to do? Play it for your friends? Your friends aren't going to tell you it sucks. And then it's like, well, yeah, I like it, but what do I know? I wrote it. Of course I like it. So then there's this like indecision and stuff like that.
It's just hard to be original. And yes, there's so much, there's just so much, so many, and it's all been done. A lot of
it's been done.
Like, it's really hard to do something so brand new that people respond to something original.
And this is why everyone's suing everybody, because everybody thinks that they're getting ripped off. And I'm sitting here like, motherfuckers, there's 11 notes. There's 7 notes if you're going to stay in a key, which in pop music you're definitely going to do. There's like no choices. Half the songs out there have a 1-4-5 chord change. Like everyone's not ripping everybody off, bro. Like,
it's impossible to not.
It's impossible to not. Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's the copyright guy that I follow on TikTok. I forget his name, but like he talks about that all the time. And I messaged him back. It was about, oh God, I can't remember what song it was, but I was like, it's a pop tune, and it's like and this other song was made in 1972, and it's similar. Are you talking
about Ed Sheeran and Marvin Gaye?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Outrageous, an absolutely outrageous litigation. The fact that the courts were taken up with that is absolutely insane. And Ed Sheeran, I think, came out as he's like, if I lose this case, I'm never writing another song again. And I'm like, good for you, bro. I'm like, because that's the right stance to take. That's the exact right stance to take. Like it needs to be obvious that you ripped off. I think the burden of proof is called substantial original parts. Substantial original parts, not sounds like, not I can put them on top of each other and it works, because spoiler alert, you can do that with every song if you put them in the right key. Every song will sound like every song because songs only use 7 notes.
And don't you think the problem would be like, okay, so this judge is going to, what credentials does the judge have?
Exactly.
Unlike, what is your music background, Dr. Richard or Dr. Richard?
Judge Richard. Judge. Yeah, this stooge is going to be like, they sound kind of similar. I can detect similarities between those. Yeah, and
like I feel like in those cases, the people who should judge is not judges. Or there should be a lane of judges specifically for this. They went to school for music. They were in bands. They did a lot of drugs. They came out the other end being a judge.
How much music has that judge even consumed? Do you even know how much music they've consumed? You have no clue.
Yeah, exactly. No idea. And like I find it just so it's gonna get so weird. It's just gonna get so weird because now more precedents are being set. And eventually, we can sue people over rhythm now. Right, exactly. I feel like the what was that song? Oh God, I forget. What's his name? He got in trouble for being a little creep. He's the son of a famous. He's the son of a famous commentator that did the New Year's Eve thing. Oh my God.
Oh, I don't know, man.
I forget. Anyway, but like, I feel like there are some court cases in recent. I'm like, the only thing that's different is literally, or like the only thing that is the same is the rhythm. Like the rhythm is the same.
Crazy.
And so oh God, what is it? Crazy Little Lies? No. Oh God, that's gonna kill me. It's like a famous song. It's like you could not hear it.
I'm disappointed in myself for not knowing what you're talking. I feel like I should know it.
No, I'm just being terrible at my memory is absolute shit. The way you work it. Oh, I don't know. Fuck. I can't remember what it is.
No, but like in examples like that, it's like an immediate not guilty. Like unless you can prove, like to me, unless you can prove, here's what I would do. you have to have evidence. You have to have text messages or an audio phone call of them saying, I'm using this. I'm going to rip this song off.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough variety in the composition of music. There just isn't. We all use A440 and we all use scales and we all use major and minor scales. How many notes are there in a major and minor scale? There's 7 of them and there's millions of songs. I guarantee you that there are 2 songs out there that are exactly the same except for lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly the same.
Oh, yeah. And now I'm starting to see it with video game tracks. They're like, oh, you think this Sonic song's original, huh? Well, guess what? And then they'll play old tunes. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe it's inspiration. Sure.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe not even. It could just be happenstance. It literally could be happenstance. With the amount of music that people are writing on a daily basis, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. It's not possible. There's only 7 notes to choose from in melody, and there's only like a handful of chord changes for popular music that work. This isn't jazz. This isn't jazz or experimental music where there's an infinite number of chord changes. People are expecting the song to progress in a certain way. We really only have like a few dozen choices.
I really hope that, I don't know. I don't know what like can be done now that we've on this trajectory of like people suing each other, but
well, they're losing. Luckily, they're losing. Like Sheeran won his case. Like hopefully, like more and more of that, and the more of them will be thrown out. Because like it seems like every time I hear one of these cases, I'm just like, Jesus, man. And you also have to consider like the context of like. So one of my favorite guitar players is Joe Satriani. He's just an amazing guitar player. He sued Coldplay like 10 years ago for Viva La Vida because of the melody of one of his songs sounded like the melody of Viva La Vida. And I'm just like, dude, like you lose, like not guilty, you lose. It's 3 notes. You're a guitar player. You're an instrumental guitar player. The arrangement's completely different. You're not singing, you're playing guitar. There's no way Coldplay listened to your shit when they wrote this. There's no way. Yeah. Get out of here. It's just absurd. And the courts are being taken up with that. Not guilty.
Wait, what is that song? Hang on. What's the song? It's like, good girl, I know you want it.
Robin Thicke.
Thank you. Thicke. God, I'm so glad I got it. I'm so glad. I'm so.
It's Blurred Lines. What was the case over Blurred Lines? He sued or he got sued?
He got sued by. I feel like it was it Marvin Gaye? I feel like it was Marvin.
Well, Marvin Gaye sued Ed Sheeran too. Or
okay. So I don't know. I can't remember who sued him, but I listened to both songs. I listened to both songs and literally, like I'm listening to it. It's like, yeah, it's a similar sounding song, but the only thing that makes it similar is the rhythm.
Yeah. Now we're suing over rhythms.
And so I'm like,
wild.
Really?
Wild.
I mean, there's a finite number of melodic changes, but there's definitely
fewer. Yeah, exactly.
Rhythm,
exactly, especially ones that work. Oh, you put your snare on 2 and 4. I'm suing you. I did that before that. Fucking stupid. So dumb.
All right, I gotta get going here, man. But like, dude, like,
so fun.
I'm so glad we were able to do this, and thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, let's have it be semi-regular if you don't mind. This is fun. I feel like it's a good vibe. Great time.
I appreciate it. Yeah, dude. Like, I would love to have you on again. I want to do this podcast more, and so I thank you so much. Is there anything you need to plug while we're getting out of here?
Yeah, Chris Lombardi Acapella on all socials. You'll definitely, I'll pop right up. You can definitely come and find me. And on the low, real quick, you can edit in your outro after this. Like on the low, what personally, like when you stream, it's a lot. Like I know you're behind your drum kit and you're going a zillion miles an hour and you're like burning like 5 billion calories and all this shit. But do some of this stuff. Do some of this stuff with your listeners. They want to get to know you, man.
Yeah,
because this Shane is different than the one behind the drum kit.
And the reason why I want to do this more is the whole reason why I started a podcast. Really, well, kind of one of the reasons is because I want to get better at the art of conversation.
Yes.
I want to get in it better of like listening, because I don't want my wife to say I'm not listening because we've all been there.
Yeah, sure.
And I just want to be better at just like and to interview like very interesting people like yourself, people who have, similar lanes of traffic that I went through. you know,
Yes,
as a musician.
absolutely.
And
And the network, dude, the network, like the networking, it's another cliche, but it's absolutely true. Just like the more people you know, like the bigger your web is, like you just have more opportunities there.
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's just like the networking is just so great. And talking to other musicians like in the space, talking to other musicians in the space is just like, for me, is just so personally valuable, because it's like now I get a little piece that I was missing now is filled in by this perspective. It's so great.
Yeah, yeah. And like, you know, I started a podcast before I started live streaming or like, you know, anything like that. So like I was really into like, you know, just having, because I love conversations. I love like the best part of like of a party to me is not like people wilding out and going crazy and dancing. It's like the best part of a party and a hangout is having a beer, sitting in like, especially if there's a fire. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, fire. Yeah,
a fire and a beer, and we're just sitting there talking about life and talking about you know, whatever. It's my favorite part.
It's great
about a get together.
I agree. Hey,
so,
listen, get in our Discord, because I have a whole bunch of like great musicians on TikTok that would probably come on the podcast. I don't know. Abby the oboist is in there with us. TV on guitar, you know, the guy who did the Gerudo Valley guitar cover that everybody covered and didn't play anything. Yeah. He's in there. Harry the drummer. I don't know if you know Harry. He's in there. Get it.
I want to start getting it. You know, like I'm afraid to, because you know, I don't feel like I have gained enough clout to, you know, that kind of stuff. But you know, I got to in with you, man.
No, but you don't need clout to ask, because you know what, dude, it's an artifact. It's another artifact for an artist. It's not about the scale. It's like another artifact that they have. Like when you post this, if this posts anywhere or whatever, like this is like another piece. It's another thing that I've done. Like it's all valuable. And trust me. And like the size of someone's TikTok, it's like, these people are not like, they're not famous folks. They're just people who like had videos that popped off and a bunch of people clicked follow. Then nothing about them changed. Like even if they have millions or whatever. We also have Chris, you know, the girl who plays the harp. You know her, Kristen? Yeah. She's with us also. So like I'm trying to get like a network of all like the like these great TikTok musicians, because I really feel like that there's like a great opportunity for like the TikTok music, the real professional musicians who happen to get a following on TikTok to do stuff together. So like this is great. And I'm sure they'll come on. I'm sure that they'll come on if you want to interview other musicians.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
right on,
I'm
brother.
definitely looking for more people to talk to, man.
Yes, awesome. Right on, brother.
Awesome. Well, Chris Lombardi, everybody. And thank you all for watching. And
thanks a lot.
Yeah, we'll see you later.